This animal can recognize individual humans. It can solve puzzles without ever seeing them before, and it can plan escapes hours in advance. But here is the disturbing part. Its brain does not work like ours at all, which means this intelligence evolved completely independently, and that raises a question scientists still do not have an answer to. How did a creature with no backbone, more closely related to a snail than to us, develop a mind that rivals some mammals? Meet the common octopus. Prepare to question everything you thought you knew about intelligence. The year was 2008. The Sea Star Aquarium was in Coburg, Germany. Staff arrived one morning to find the building in darkness. A critical overhead lamp had short-circuited during the night, cutting power to essential systems. When they investigated, they discovered the cause: water damage. But the water had not leaked from a pipe or overflowed from a tank. It had been deliberately fired at the lamp by an octopus named Otto. Security footage revealed the truth. Otto, apparently annoyed by the bright light shining into his tank at night, had climbed to the surface and shot a precise jet of water at the lamp above. He had caused a short circuit, intentionally. He had solved a problem that was bothering him. This was not instinct. This was not random behavior. This was problem-solving, planning, intent. And it is just one example of why the common octopus is perhaps the most unsettling intelligent creature on Earth. If you are fascinated by the mysteries lurking in the deep ocean and the minds that evolved in complete isolation from our own, subscribe to our channel. We explore the abyss where intelligence takes forms you never imagined. Hit that bell icon because the deep sea has more questions than answers. The common octopus, Octopus vulgaris, does not look like it should be intelligent. It is a soft-bodied invertebrate, a mollusk, more closely related to clams and snails than to any creature we would typically call smart. It has no bones, no rigid structure. Its body is essentially a muscular bag with 8 arms attached to a head that contains its major organs. And yet, this animal possesses 500 million neurons. That is more than any other invertebrate, and it is in the range of various mammals. Dogs, for instance, have around 530 million neurons. The octopus is in the same cognitive neighborhood as man's best friend. But here's where it gets strange. In a human, a dog, any vertebrate, most neurons are concentrated in the brain. Centralized control. One command center processing information and issuing instructions to the body. Not in an octopus. 2/3 of an octopus's neurons, roughly 330 million, are not in its brain, they are in its arms. Each arm has its own neural network. Each arm can taste, touch, and make decisions independently without consulting the central brain. Each sucker on those arms may contain 10,000 neurons for taste and touch alone. This means an octopus does not simply have 8 arms. In some sense, it has 8 semi-autonomous agents, each capable of exploring the world on its own terms, while the central brain coordinates higher-level decisions. It is a fundamentally alien architecture of intelligence, and it works disturbingly well. In laboratory studies, octopuses have demonstrated abilities that should be impossible for an invertebrate. They can open child-proof containers, unscrew jar lids from the inside and from the outside. They can solve mazes, navigate complex 3-dimensional environments, and remember solutions to problems they encountered weeks earlier. But it's not just what they can do, it's how quickly they learn. In one experiment, octopuses were presented with an acrylic box secured with a latch. Food was placed inside. Most octopuses figured out how to open the latch within minutes. Some solved it on the first try. No trial and error. no gradual learning, just immediate comprehension. Even more disturbing, they can learn by watching. In a study of observational learning, common octopuses were allowed to observe other octopuses selecting between two objects that differed only in color. When it was their turn, the observer octopuses consistently chose the same object the demonstrators had selected. They learned by watching, without ever touching the objects themselves. This is a cognitive ability we typically associate only with intelligent vertebrates, primates, corvids, and dolphins. Not with something that evolved from a completely different branch of the evolutionary tree over 500 million years ago. And then there are the escapes. Captive octopuses have become legendary among aquarium staff for their Houdini-like abilities. They wait, they watch, they learn the routines of their caretakers, when people arrive, when they leave, when the lights go out, and then they act. Octopuses have been documented climbing out of their tanks, crossing the floor, entering another aquarium to feed on the crabs inside, and then returning to their own tanks before morning. They have squeezed through drain pipes barely larger than a golf ball, possible because the only hard part of their body is a small beak, and everything else can compress and deform. In one famous case, an octopus in New Zealand repeatedly short-circuited its tank's lighting system. Staff could not figure out how until they set up cameras and caught the octopus climbing out at night and squirting water at the lights. Sound familiar? Different octopus, same solution. This suggests not just intelligence, but something approaching cultural transmission, with different individuals in different locations independently discovering the same problem-solving technique. Perhaps most unnerving of all, they recognize individual humans. Aquarium staff report that octopuses clearly distinguish between different caretakers. They will behave playfully with some people, aggressively with others. They seem to form preferences, holding grudges against individuals who have annoyed them and showing affection toward those who have treated them well. One octopus in an aquarium would spray a particular staff member with water every time she walked past. Just her, no one else. The staff eventually realized this woman had been part of the team that originally captured the octopus from the wild. It remembered, and it retaliated. This level of social cognition requires not just recognizing faces, but attributing identity, intention, and memory to other beings. It is theory of mind, the ability to understand that others have thoughts and motivations separate from your own. We see this in primates, in elephants, in corvids. We do not expect to see it in mollusks. But there is something else that makes octopus intelligence particularly unsettling. They know they are being watched. When scientists observe octopuses in tanks, the animals clearly modify their behavior. They will act differently when they know humans are present versus when they believe they are alone. They will engage in play, juggling hermit crabs and rearranging objects in their tanks, but they will stop if they notice someone watching. It is self-awareness, or something very close to it. And it is profoundly uncomfortable because it forces us to confront a question we are not ready to answer. What does it mean to be intelligent? For most of human history, we have assumed intelligence evolved once in our lineage. The path to complex cognition runs through vertebrates, through mammals, through primates, through us. But the octopus proves that assumption catastrophically wrong. Octopus intelligence did not evolve from the same ancestors as ours. Our last common ancestor with octopuses lived over 500 million years ago and was probably something like a simple flatworm. Since then, we have been on completely separate evolutionary paths, and yet, somehow, Octopuses developed problem-solving, learning, memory, tool use, and social recognition, all the hallmarks of intelligence, using a completely different neural architecture. Their brains do not look like ours. They do not function like ours. They do not even organize information the way ours do. And yet, they work. This is convergent evolution taken to its most extreme conclusion. Two utterly different lineages, facing different challenges in different environments, arriving at the same destination, intelligence. But it raises an even more disturbing possibility. If intelligence can evolve twice, independently, using completely different biological machinery, how many other forms of intelligence might be possible? What other kinds of minds might exist in the deep sea, on other planets, in forms we have not even imagined that do not resemble anything we would recognize? The octopus is a reminder that intelligence is not a singular thing. It is not a ladder we are climbing, with humans at the top. It is a multitude of solutions to the problem of survival, and some of those solutions look nothing like us. Recent research has revealed something even stranger about octopus genetics. Octopuses and their relatives, squid and cuttlefish, practice a type of genetic modification called RNA editing far more extensively than any other animal on Earth. They can alter the information encoded by their genes without changing the genes themselves, and they do this primarily in genes that code for neurons. Humans do not do this. Monkeys do not do this. No other animal does this to the extent cephalopods do. They are rewriting their own neural code on the fly, which raises the question, what else are they capable of? What evolutionary paths are still open to them that are closed to us? Scientists studying octopus intelligence often describe an eerie feeling when working with them, a sense of being observed by something that understands more than it should, a presence behind those eyes with horizontal pupils that seems to be evaluating, calculating, judging. Perhaps it is projection. Perhaps we are reading intention into behavior that is simpler than it appears. Or perhaps the octopus really is looking back at us, recognizing us, remembering us, planning. And that, more than anything else, is what makes the common octopus so profoundly unsettling. It is not just intelligent. It is intelligent in a way that has nothing to do with us. It evolved its mind in complete isolation from our lineage, in an alien environment, using alien biology. And yet, when we look into its eyes, something looks back. Something that can recognize us. Something that can solve problems we thought only vertebrates could handle. Something that can plan, remember, and perhaps even imagine. We share this planet with an intelligence that is utterly foreign to everything we understand about minds. And it has been here, hiding in the ocean, for 500 million years. What does it think about when it is alone in its tank at night, rearranging shells, juggling crabs, plotting escapes? We do not know. We may never know. Because to understand the octopus mind, we would have to think like something that has no spine, no centralized consciousness, no evolutionary connection to our own cognitive lineage. We would have to become alien to ourselves. The octopus is proof that intelligence is far stranger, far more diverse, and far more unsettling than we ever imagined. And it is watching us. If this exploration into the alien intelligence lurking beneath the waves left you wanting more, subscribe to our channel. We dive into the deep ocean where evolution experiments with minds that challenge everything we think we know. Hit that notification bell, because the abyss is full of creatures that think in ways we are only beginning to understand. Until next time, keep questioning what makes a mind. The answers might be closer and stranger than you think.